they're willing to let it through against 100 Thieves.
It's actually so funny too, because the players afterwards were kind of just like memeing on their opponents for letting it through, and like, why would they let us have this? It's so overpowered. Of course we won. So now they let it through. So I want to see, you know, a real game plan to go up against this. You know, it felt like when we saw it yesterday, it was against an Azir, and the plan was kind of attack mid with the Azir, but that failed early, and things really fell apart. I'm gonna be interested to see, do you think this is like a mid Jayce potentially that's going up against a Neeko?
I think it's likely 100% almost that it's gonna be mid Jayce. Yeah, especially with Maokai, it's just a really strong 2v2 pairing.
Ksante as well now, so they do have the potential to double flex, you know, based on the matchup, I guess, for top lane. But you know, it does feel like you need to have something that can kind of pressure the Neeko and really be able to kind of put her behind early. Because if this champion gets out of lane in a good spot, like, I know the ultimate interaction is being changed later, but when you're transformed, the fact that you can't see the ultimate interaction feels like it makes it so hard to play around.
Yeah, I mean, her thing is also like she's really strong in lane. That's why it's like so hard to deal with her, because not only she's like dominating in lane, but also in team fight, if she's ahead, she will just one-shot the whole team basically.
Well, we've got the Melio banned out, the Nocturne banned out. Roles are not synced up in this first half of the draft. It's mid and bottom lane duo for 100 Thieves. Meanwhile, both solo lanes and jungle for C9. I'm half expecting just another jungle ban here. Continue to try to target Closer, who has not looked super great so far in these first few games. Malphite banned away instead. The Viego was the other jungle ban in the first half of things, so still has the Lee Sin and the Wukong available that we've often seen him play before.
The Malphite feels like it's almost tipping their hand that it's potentially just a top Jayce, right? Or that they're going to go full AD, like one or the other. But like Jayce is, you know, in the matchup that you don't want to play into the Malphite, so it could potentially be the Ksante mid and having that Jayce up top, or it's just a compositional thing.
Yeah, Aphelios, last ban of the draft here for 100 Thieves. C9, what's it gonna be, my friends? We got to see support, we got to see AD carry. I'm expecting the AD carry first.
What would you want to be playing here in this situation? It's Xayah, Rakan, Neeko for mid. You know, if you're C9, what are you looking at?
Maybe he'll pick something like Varus, Jinx, with like a range support. Even Zeri can be good.
Are you a fan of the Zeri AP builds?
I think the AD build is still better. He might still go like the Shiv build, but yeah, I've seen a lot of AP Zeri build too, but like giving Maokai solo AP is actually quite strong too.
All right, Zeri locked in for C9. We've got the nerfs that at least went through, getting rid of that Trinity Force, Bruiser build, 3,500 HP monster, but the champion has been a thorn in the side of many players for a long time. Sion picked up for 100 Thieves, going for that big meatball in the top lane, wanting some front line here. They've already got plenty of damage with Neeko and Xayah, and now how do they want to round things out for Closer in the jungle?
Yeah, he doesn't have actually like that many picks left. Wukong, yeah, was the only one that was left.
Yeah, Wukong I think works really, really well, you know, with the Rakan, with the Neeko, you know, a lot of dive, a lot of potential engage here. Like, what kind of support do you think that Cloud9 should be looking for? You know, now that we see the full composition, it's a lot of dive the 100 Thieves have been drafting.
I mean, I thought Zven will always go for like a range support, like a Lulu, Renata, Soraka, like basically every support he's hovering.
I like Renata so much against dive comps, you know, as far as those range supports go. Yuumi was pretty heavily nerfed on 13-12, so it's actually interesting to see this come out. I know, like, at least for solo queue, it's almost gone away like entirely on this patch.
Yeah.
It has been taking some pretty heavy hits.
Yeah, I mean, lots of respect to Zven, because I will hate to play with Yuumi again, especially after like she's like convincingly like nerfed. So I mean, he's playing for wins, and I respect that.
Right, yeah. Isaac, what are the, I see you've got the patch notes up there. The damage to Yuumi was pretty heavy-handed, right?
Yeah, pretty significant. I mean, the best friend bonus got nerfed. The attack speed on the E got nerfed. The shield base value got nerfed. The healing on the R also got nerfed. Like, they nerfed a lot. And I know this champion went down like 6% win rate or something in solo queue. So most of the people I had talked to thought this was like really dead. And you had a big smile on your face when it comes in. So to me, it's like, are you thinking the same thing I'm thinking, that this was just going to be gone?
I mean, I was hoping so. Like,
because yesterday he had a really rough game, but to be fair, he was also pressured very hard by EG. And we've seen a lot of people first game into the LCS, you know, have that rough game. Obviously, there's going to be stage nerves, and then when you're focused as well, things are going to be tough. But it was interesting because we were kind of joking around in that cast that it was, you know, DoubleLift playing Ashe, you know, 4 quids Azir, and when the game goes bad and DoubleLift is on a team, it's almost always going to be back to DoubleLift on a big carry. You know, he's kind of that team fight win condition. And being on the Xayah, he at least does have a lot more agency. see. So I think there is a little bit less pressure potentially on Quid as a result.
Yeah, for sure. And also it helps that he's playing like a lane dominant champion like Neeko, and he can make a lot of plays. So with a good wave clear and everything. So yeah, I'm pretty excited how he will play as well.
Do you think though that, you talked about this powerful duo with the Maokai, with the Jayce, are we expecting a lot of focus here around mid lane, trying to attack the Neeko, or is it more of like a stabilizing pick, you think?
It might be I think it's just kind of hard to punish Neeko because if they're trying to 2v2, like 100 Thieves can also fight back. So it will depend on how they're playing the laning phase. But usually Neeko will chunk the Jayce because Neeko's Q is just really hard to dodge and does so much damage. So we'll see.
Well, I'm just going to be on the lookout for how Quid enters these fights later on with the power of that disguise. If he can get multi-man pop blossoms. That's what we saw yesterday from EMENES. It felt like every time the Neeko went into the fight and went for that big AoE hit with the ulti, he got 3-4-man ults every single time.
Well, that's one of the strongest things about the interactions with it is you press R, then you can flash, then you can rocket belt, so you can create so much distance after having done it. So it's very hard to react to. And as soon as you're in that knockup, like you're stunned up, and the follow-up's going to be there.
Yeah, it's also, there's a fight. It's just a W, but...
Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah. But the Neeko's part is like in team fight, when she becomes a different champion, it's just so hard to keep track on Neeko. So even like a best player, like best AD carry in the world, I think will have a hard time reacting to it. So I think that's why she's so strong.
One of the things that Zven was talking about as well is the fact that when she transforms, even if you see her on the minimap, it's just a little dot. Yes. It's like a little box instead of the champion face. So it's really difficult to even notice that.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, not a whole lot of early action here as Closer's clearing out that red buff. This is honestly the guy that I've got my eyes on the most on 100 Thieves for wanting him to be able to step up and get more done than he has in the past few games. I think that when 100 Thieves has looked their best in the past, Closer's been the vehicle for a lot of their playmaking, for a lot of their big moments that they win the game off of, and he's been having a rough first few games here in Summer.
Definitely when Closer was my teammates, we were really confident whenever he was an engage champion. But like you're mentioning, when he does fall behind, he was struggling a bit. But yeah, I'm pretty sure with Quid being back on the team, as long as they can keep growing their synergy, they will have like a consistent early game, then he can come back to his form.
Yeah, and you can see Quid obviously has the early push here. EMENES, even going pretty defensive with the buy. Did start with D-Shield. He talked about all the poke he can get done with that Q is going to make things difficult. It's interesting to see Blaber, though, because he is first strike, which, makes me think it's going to be AP. But almost always with the AP Maokai, you do see Red Smite, for the actual little bit of extra damage there. So, wonder if it's going to be, somewhat of a different build. But Berserker, cleanse already forced.
Nicely done there from the 100 Thieves duo in the 2v2. Zven just trying to trade back and forth with him a little bit, use that health bar as a resource. But that's what I want to see out of DoubleLift and Busio. You're on the Xayah Rakan. If you're going to draft it nice and early like that, go for that bottom lane duo. Flex the muscles in lane a little bit. Take advantage of the nerfs that hit both Zeri and Yuumi.
Yeah, it's also for DoubleLift, he started call. So for his perspective, he should be really happy because if I'm Zeri and Yuumi, I'll be like, oh, enemy started call and also winning lane, It's really bad. So like, I don't know if Zeri is going to buy call after she bases, but yeah, I think ball lane is going great for 100 Thieves.
And this is about what we were expecting with the nerf Yuumi and everything, right? This is what you were talking about, how if you pick something other than Yuumi, you can have more lane presence. And right now, their lane presence is standing underneath the turret.
Yeah, for sure. That's why I thought if they went for not Yuumi and something like Soraka or Heimerdinger, they will have ball lane control, mid lane push, and maybe top lane push too. And usually Blaber shines when it's like those kind of lane states. So, yeah.
How do you feel about Renata into these kind of picks? Because I always feel like it's so strong into teams that have to hard engage. Like dealing with the ultimate is so difficult when you're playing like Rakan and Neeko and Wukong and all these champions that want to dive, but you have to deal with that.
Oh, Renata is like one of the good counters as well. I think Zven plays Renata too. So yeah, those are the champions that I was looking for, but I'm just sad that he went for the cat.
Aren't we all? Tank battle topside's going all right. Honestly, remember that C9 is one of those teams that we talk about Ksante being a flex a lot. Most times you end up seeing him go top, but he has the ability to go mid. C9 is a team that, at least in spring, played him more mid than top. I believe they were our only team who did it like that.
You guys did as well, didn't you?
Yes, but we decided that mid Ksante doesn't look as strong anymore. So I think that's why when I saw their draft, Jayce was going to go mid and Ksante was going to go top. So I was looking for like more so like a counter pick from Someday too, but he just picked the Sion, thinking that Jayce can also go top.
Yeah, I mean, it's also just kind of feels like the meta these days for top lane is that like most of the top laners feel like, hey, top lane is just going to be about trading waves, pushing back and forth, and playing for the 5v5, right? Like there's not usually a lot of focus up there. Last game was a little bit different because you guys brought out the Renekton, you know, River was focusing top, like, but that's pretty atypical.
Yeah, for sure. Licorice was a bit sad that he was behind, so we made sure he was happy.
Morale boost, huh?
You have to give him a fun game every once in a while, and then back to Sion, dude.
We already made him blind Renekton, so.
Whoa. Closer seeing that Blaber's coming down, needs to disengage there as Busio hops back to DoubleLift. Both teams sending junglers down here into the bottom lane, which goes along with exactly what we're expecting with 2 tanks in top side. You just sort of let them do their thing. We had Fudge on here yesterday, and he told us that forever until the day that he dies, he'll preach the top lane doesn't matter. Just forget this lane, focus the other side of the map.
And it was this exact matchup he was talking about, right? Where it was like, you know, you didn't feel that anyone could really create any sort of advantage. So it will be interesting. Blaber has actually gotten 3 points Q, so he is going towards demonic embrace, but only 1 point in the saplings. And he's playing first strike, so a little bit of an interesting build. I feel like generally you normally see at least a couple points in E when people are going towards AP Maokai.
Fudge. Ooh, going all out. Brings Someday away from his turret. Sion wanted to stay there. Fudge trying to chase after that flashing Someday. He does end up getting that summoner spell out of the enemy top laner, so maybe there's an opportunity to get something up here now, but I like the fact that Fudge went for that, recognizing the angle with the ulti.
It was really nicely done. He also got the ult off Someday, because Someday was really worried about the flash follow, right? If he has the flash follow in, it hits that last Q. He definitely could have gone down there, so use that ulti just really quickly to try to get that little bit of space after his flash, so nice bit of pressure.
Yeah, and mid lane is already kind of, Quid is already up in CS, like expected. He's bullying pretty well. And I'm just hoping that on his first ulti, if he gets a kill, he will get out of control is how I see it.
Yeah, it's interesting too, because normally a lot of people talk about Jayce, like obviously it has good scaling now, but as an early power pick, right? Like something that on one item can be quite strong. But you look at the items in inventory here for EMENES, he has like 0 combat power, right? It's D-Shield, Null Magic Mantle, and a tier that he's stacking up. So Jayce is not really going to have, I think, a lot of strength in these skirmishes if anything breaks out.
Yeah, but I think C9 is a special case, at least in LCS, where even though if they're winning early, they will just be dominating, and even though they're losing early, they just somehow win a team fight in mid-game, or like early mid-game, and they'll just be winning. And it just doesn't feel.
If they're winning early, they win, and if they're losing early, they also win.
Yeah.
What do you think it is? Is it just like, is there an individual player that really, you know, stands out to you as the difference maker for that?
I think they, like, literally all of their players are just salt, and I think that's why. They will just make a less mistake, because League of Legends is about who makes more mistakes, and they just forces enemies mistakes and then just capitalize on that, and then themselves don't make too much mistakes.
Well, 100 Thieves swapped their bottom lane to the top side so that they could guarantee control over the Rift Herald. Now Fudge stands here in the 1 versus 3 potential. Level 6 online for both DoubleLift and Busio. Closer as well. Blaber coming up here to make sure that Fudge just doesn't get dove for free. Now that they see the Maokai, I think 100 Thieves would have to back away from this one. But DoubleLift is going to continue shoving that wave up. Yes, there's not a dive potential, but still plenty of opportunity for DoubleLift to keep the pressure on the turret itself. Look for more of those plates. With Fudge stuck underneath the turret, Blaber's going to try to secure his own red, but Closer and Busio want to contest for this.
Yeah, and we'll see. You know, is Berserker just going to head straight back towards bot, or are they going to try to swap the match? He did base, and looks like he's just running right back towards bot, so they're happy with these lanes. Obviously not feeling like Fudge can be pressured that heavily, and thinking that they can potentially get even more, but somebody is going to push out this full wave, so they're not going to have a wave to push with at the very least for now, and it does feel like the swap went fairly well for 100 Thieves.
And we got the first full item of the game, boys. It's Static Shiv on Zeri. Oh boy.
So you were talking about some of the different builds that you've been seeing. You were saying you think AD is still stronger for Zeri. So are you wanting like a Static Shiv into AD type variant, or?
Yeah, I think Static Shiv into like something like I've seen Kraken Slayer building. So because having a solo AP on Maokai is good, but also enemy has like a really strong tank like Sion, so I can see going AP as well. But yeah, we'll have to.
3 minutes until the Drake spawns again. So no neutral objectives to contest right now. Not really any reason to fight unless you just think that you can outplay him and build yourself an advantage from that. Speaking of advantages, I mean, 100 Thieves is a few hundred gold up just from the farm leads that they've got on the 2 carry roles there. Biggest advantage for C9 in the lanes. You can see the Ksante versus Sion matchup nearly plus 15 for the side of Fudge's Ksante, as Busio and DoubleLift are getting this wave shoved up into Berserker and Zven yet again. The Zeri and the Yuumi just stuck underneath this turret pretty much permanently. Still waiting to see if we can get one of these big Neeko plays sometime soon.
Yeah, I think for 100 Thieves right now, they just want to force something because they have Herald, they have Kraken Slayer, and Zeri has static, but it doesn't do much in team fights. So they want to force a fight and get a lead right now.
Well, looks like mid's going to be the place they force. They'll only get the 1 turret plate there.
So you're expecting 100 Thieves to show up for the next Dragon then and try to be setting up 5v5s, trying to look for those sorts of plays?
I mean, I'm kind of disappointed how they use Herald because I think they should have used the mid prio with the Herald to go dive bottom or something because they're just so much stronger in boss side right now. But yeah, I don't know if the Herald was running out, or I doubt it. But yeah, I was hoping more like taking control in the river because they're playing Rakan into Yuumi, because Yuumi cannot really match Rakan that well, and kind of controlling boss side and diving bot, but they just use Herald mid.
So, hold on. Quid's getting jumped on now. Blaber shows up here in the mid lane. C9 looking to grab this kill, and there it is. It's hammer time. EMENES. First blood, just 12 minutes into the game. C9's on the board.
Yeah, very slow early game, but they do find that first kill, and it goes to EMENES, taking advantage of Quid. You know, Busio was trying to come over to cover, but was not there in time. And now that actually is going to put C9 in the lead. Just a minute or two ago, it was actually a 1K lead, 400 Thieves, but a pretty big swing.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, like, I do prefer having Jayce on my team compared to this Neeko, because now Neeko basically lost her lead, her flash, and Jayce is just going to be really strong after the first item, and she's also building MR, so Neeko will pretty much never be able to beat Jayce inside lane. So yeah, it's really good for C9 right now.
Youmuu's Ghostblade, first completed item on EMENES, also going to give him the power to roam around more effectively, impact these lanes.
Yeah.
Speaking of roaming around right now, so if you're playing this from 100 Thieves point of view, if you're piloting the Rakan, what would you specifically be looking to do at this point in the game? You know, we got 1 minute left until turret plates fall. What sort of things would you be looking to set up or do?
I think mainly I will try to abuse the fact that I'm playing Rakan and enemy support is playing Yuumi. So basically Yuumi has to be under Zeri the whole time. So buying pings and taking river control and just basically never showing in lane so that enemy thinks that Rakan can be in lane or in somewhere else.
Okay.
And basically, based on that, you can either decide to roam or not based on if DoubleLift can clear the wave or not.
C9 has control over that river right now with the second Drake just about to spawn. C9 did get the first one with the Mountain, the second one Infernal. A couple of valuable ones, both of them. Berserker on top of a ward right now that he's not aware of, I don't believe. 100 Thieves bringing plenty of guys down here to try to contest for this and clear out some of that C9 vision so that they don't have to give this one away for free. Busio tanks some damage to the face there with the zap.
Yeah, I feel like if they fight this dragon, this is where the point that C9 Berserker, Zeri will just randomly get 2 or 3 kills and pop off and the game will be over.
Okay.
So I'm hoping that doesn't happen because 100 Thieves has a really good comp with all the items, but yeah.
Nature's Grasp fired off. They got Fudge here in the front of everybody. They're looking to dogpile Ksante, but Zven's grabbed the kill on Busio, and C9 are firing right back. A little bit more damage coming out of Decimating Smash, but it won't get there. Huhi the Prophet just called it. A double kill for Yuumi of all people. Berserker picks up another one, and C9 just painted the river red with 100 Thieves.
Yeah, you called it, Huhi. This is about the time Berserker's gonna get some kills. They found that angle, and you should have seen Huhi's face as soon as Berserker goes over the wall. You just knew the fight was over already. That is going to be that AP variant, though. Has the Hextech alternator, so is going to be going for that full AP Zeri. And we can see this one more time. The Maokai ultimate comes through. Closer just did not get much at all with this ulti. It's into a W buffered Fudge. All of their initial damage is being thrown in onto the Ksante. Berserker is completely untouched. Quid is just getting shredded. And they couldn't get to the C9 carries. It just felt like 100 Thieves thought they were going to get way more from that engage than they really did. But it's risky going on Ksante.
Yeah, this is why, like, versus C9, especially like player like Berserker, it's really important to have like a threat into him. Because they just basically use every ulti to Ksante, like Rakan ulti, Neeko ulti. So Zeri is just free to do everything she wants.
I always have to scratch my head a little bit when not only is it a tanky champion, he's a tanky champion that has an I don't take damage button. And that's the guy they're going to engage on. 100 Thieves will not be happy about the way that fight played out. What was a super close game, what was 0 kills until almost 12 minutes in, now just 3 minutes later is plus 2,000 gold, 5 kills to 1 for C9, and they're starting up the next neutral objective.
Yeah, they are so good at snowballing these games. So the job becomes, it feels like almost impossible now for 100 Thieves. I always feel like when you're playing from behind against Maokai as well, you know, a lot of times you want to talk about, we can look for a flank as Wukong or Rakan, but there's Maokai saplings in every brush. It becomes really, really difficult to actually find those flanks where you aren't spotted. They have pretty explosive engage, they have good scaling, they can play through sides. So the options start becoming really, really limited now for 100 Thieves.
I mean, what even do you guys think would be the play here?
Pray for DoubleLift.
Is it just a DoubleLift Prage
I think
angle?
it is.
Yeah, so basically I think at this point 100 Thieves just has to realize when they will be stronger, which will be like maybe hitting 2 items power spike, or when they have a flash advantage and picking someone. But right now, if they just have a straight up like a 5v5 fight or like an even number fight, they will always lose everywhere. So they just have to be really smart about when to pick the fight.
So it is Night Harvester completed now for Berserker, so utilizing that kind of 2-item combo that a lot of people really are liking to abuse. The Shiv procs the Night Harvester, so you can start to really get, it's not like single target damage, but you can kind of like almost AoE in a team fight. It gets pretty goofy.
It's not exactly the most balanced combination of items. Clearly Berserker watched the infomercial about static Shiv before this game began. But yeah, that's an incredibly powerful combination, especially if you have these situations squaring off around an objective or something where everybody's normally just doing the dance back and forth, trading a couple of random shots here. All of a sudden, that one shot landing from Berserker, taking a massive chunk out of everybody. EMENES going to grab the first turret of the game here in the side lane. Huhi, you talked a little bit earlier. As soon as they got that first blood on Neeko in mid, Jayce is now set up to be a side lane threat that Quid's gonna have a hard time answering.
Yes, basically I think Jayce can pull like 1 or 2 people. Quid can never really match 1v1, and Jayce will always be able to push like this and come group up, poke, and get all the objectives they want. This is why like Jayce Maokai is really like oppressive when they're ahead, because Maokai will just throw ulti and then Jayce will just throw 1 EQ, and then you basically cannot fight after.
Yeah, the chunk is guaranteed. You're setting up that skill shot, putting themselves in a great spot, and they didn't even need to use the Herald there. We'll see where they want to drop it. So there doesn't look to be very much time on that. If my screen is right, it looks like is that about to time out?
It's very close.
Herald has looked so buggy recently on Spectator, where it shows 2 heralds overlapping. So I can't even tell if that's accurate, because yeah, it just
ticked up to a
timed
second.
out and now it's back.
No,
so
it didn't just time out. It ticked up to a second charge. There's a tiny 2 behind.
Yeah, it's the Spectator client is so bugged with Herald on this patch. You can't even tell when it's going to expire. So I'm not actually sure how long it has. But either way, they didn't even need to use it on the tier 1. If it's going to have another minute on it, my guess is he just drops it before they actually go to this next dragon fight. Ocean Soul would be really nice, especially when you do have some tanky members on the team. Going to make things almost impossible for 100 Thieves. So, you know, if you're talking about, you know, if you hit 2 items, so it's basically just trying to hit 2 items before your opponents hit 3 and pray for a good team fight.
Yes, but I don't think 100 Thieves should take this fight, because I think they will almost always lose.
Oh no.
Oh no. Well, you definitely don't take the fight now. Yeah. Oh no, Quid. 100 Thieves, you guys got to get the hell out of town, and you got to get out fast. Bramble Smash going to slow down Busio, force another disengage. 100 Thieves, just leave. Leave, leave,
Yeah.
leave. Leave, leave, leave. Do not look back.
Look at bot, though. You know, Jayce has already pushed up all the way there. C9 are going to take over the entire bot side jungle now. You know, they are really going to be farming 3 quadrants of the map. So bad is kind of just going to go to worse. You start falling behind further and further and further as your jungler lose access to his camps. And C9's income is just going to ramp up. They're going to get a free tier 2 as well with the Herald. So even more of a gold lead now. They're already 4K, make it 5. C9 are really getting everything.
Yeah, this is what I was talking about. C9 just doesn't really make too much mistake and will force any mistake. Like their Quid was making a mistake and they just capitalize on it. Instead of doing Dragon, they just realized that, well, we can just get free bot tower first and then go to Dragon. So they're just really smart team.
Do bot tower, farm the Krugs, then go to Dragon. They're going to get that anyway. How do you feel about the current meta? Because it's interesting, right? Because almost every game in LCS this split has been a stomp, right? There's been so many fast games, and they were looking at game time around the world, and LCS is not even faster than some of the other leagues. So it just seems like right now the meta is so snowbally and so stompy. What is it that you think is actually causing this change from last split?
Well, I am not too sure because I thought because of the static shift, everyone building static shift, the game will go longer.
Yeah, with
because,
wave clear, right?
Yeah, like no one can really push the wave and stuff like that. But I think Oda's team just knows how to play aggressive nowadays. When they realize that they can actually just force the fight, they will just force it like C9 is doing right now, or how we did it as well. And I think that's why the games are going faster too.
Well, 100 Thieves is just hoping for one of those uncharacteristic mistakes from CU9 right now. I mean, 5,000 gold, 3 Drakes to none at 21 minutes into the game. It's one of those situations where it feels like you're no longer in control of your own destiny if you're on 100 Thieves. It's just, it's trouble.
Yeah, basically you just have to, I think what 100 Thieves has to do is like predicting where C9 is gonna go and basically hiding there the whole time and then just hoping that enemy has to make a mistake, because you just have to be in the right place to even punish that mistake.
Yeah, absolutely. And Blaber here is behind him. Someday is here, but there's all of C9. They're gonna go for the dive.
Yeah, Sion's normally pretty tanky. He tried to use the ulti there to grab a little bit of CC. He clears out the wave enough. Now C9 does have to be a bit careful. Yeah, Quid's coming around from the side, but Blaber's ready to lock him down. The Neeko's got to be careful as the Yuumi ulti finds everybody. Quid's going to get the ulti off, but he dies already to Berserker. Fudge leads the charge, and Tofo strikes, brings him right back. And it's Berserker knocking him down. A double kill back over to the Zeri, and he ain't done yet. Chases the rest of 100 Thieves away. And now C9 saying, all right, Baron, that's the play.
Yeah, it's Baron o'clock. Nice engage there from Blaber. Did not buy for a second that it wasn't Quid. I think he had the idea. They saw the Neeko clone, I believe, coming around. He W'd into the lane, so he just immediately flashed on him. They burst him down, and Quid is down like 2k plus gold on the Jayce. So even if you get a big ulti, at this point, you're not one-shotting anybody.
Yeah, basically, like, he was just hoping that no one saw the TP, but Blaber was just too smart. He threw a sapling, and then Zeri saw it. I think that's one of the Berserker's strengths, where he will read the map, even as an AD carry, because I saw it, and he was the first one who backed it up.
Yeah, so we can see this one more time. There's the TP coming in, and we can watch on the map the reaction. Yeah, you can see Zeri on the mini-map is moving back.
He'll move back.
Yep, and the sapling comes out, as you say. He's already pulling back, so he already knows, and they have that call back. And Quid just a little bit too close, tries to respond with that rocket belt, but not able to do it. And sure, the ulti does connect, but it's like, what, 20% of Berserker's health? You're not doing enough at this point.
And then when they kill Someday, there's just nobody that could possibly walk up to try to challenge that Baron anymore.
Yeah.
So C9 with Baron now, they're going to have that one for the next, what, 2 minutes? And conveniently enough, that's also just enough time to control all of Summoner's Rift until the soul spawns.
And this game is tough, right? Because, we're going to see a pick.
Nice engage coming out. EMENES caught. 100 Thieves finally getting a shutdown. It's not enough to bring the whole game back, but it's at least relieving a little bit of that pressure.
Yeah, it is good. You still have to really worry about Berserker. If you spend too much on one target, you can still get ran over in that fight. It's kind of similar to the game that you guys just played, where Gory got so strong, and it's like you can't ignore Stixay. You have to take out the AD, but if you go for one, the other's shredding you.
Yeah, that's why even though Jayce is down, like, C9 is not scared of keep pushing, because they realize that they're just that much stronger, and they use lots of resources on Jayce. So if they fight out 45, they're just confident that they're going to win anyway.
Yeah, without the ultis, there's nothing you can do on Zeri. And, I mean, it's Wukong ult, Neeko ult, and Rakan ult all spent. So how would you ever get to Zeri at that point?
Wukong flash also forced out there as Closer was just a little bit too close. A little bit of a goofy ulti from Zven, doesn't accomplish a whole lot.
Oh my God!
Just nearly gets one tapped by Berserker.
That burst is not okay. He didn't even hit him with the W. That was just like, went over the wall and Q taught him. That's it.
Yeah, I think it was a lot of like the ulti damage as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He has, by the way, just checking in, 3,200 damage to champions with Static Shiv, and about 1,500 so far from Night Harvester. His ulti right now does 600 magic damage, AoE.
Oh,
I wonder if it does more than the Neekos. That's what I want to know. Which is the better Neeko? Oh, it's the exact same. 589 versus 586. So Neeko beats him out. 3 more damage.
No, but Zeri has Night Harvester.
Oh, true.
Yeah. So you get to add the Night Harvester damage on. Oh, no, dude. He's got the Shadow Flame plus the Stork boots as well for the extra spell.
A lot of flat pen. Yeah, there's like no MR on DoubleLift at all. So,
no, dude.
Kind of one tap.
Well, Berserker's almost got that ulti ready to go again. C9 still with total control over the map. 2 seconds until the Ocean Soul spawns. EMENES just nearly killed DoubleLift once more. This time it was an accelerated shock blast. So Xayah, dig in, buddy. This is going to be a tough one.
It's a rough game for DoubleLift.
Yeah.
It's like he hasn't really done anything wrong, but hasn't really been able to have a big impact either. He's kind of just farming, and it felt like the game was really over before he's really been able to get involved.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is the kind of game, if I'm the shot caller on 100 Thieves, I'll basically say, guys, like, no worries, like, we basically lost the game, but like, let's just try to like make something happen at least.
Yeah.
And make something exciting. And then usually that gives like a team like a positive environment, and then even though they're like getting losing everywhere, they will have like a goal, and then from that goal maybe some miracle can happen.
And I mean, that's probably a pretty big aspect of this, I would assume. Hold on, we don't even have time to talk about it. DoubleLift's ulti keeps him alive for an extra second. Closer popping the clone. Over the wall comes EMENES. DoubleLift's down. Busio's down. C9 has lost their jungler, but the pace continues. Berserker setting off the bomb on these guys. Triple kill back over to EMENES. Only some days still standing, but the day's today, and it's Cloud9's day for another dub. They're going to go up to 5-0, 26 minutes into this one. There wasn't a kill until 11:45, and at 26:30, C9's gonna knock down these Nexus turrets. They're gonna take down this Nexus. Berserker never died. Zven never died. Nerf him again and again and again and again and again, and Zeri and Yuumi's always gonna come back. C9 keeps the win streak alive. 12-3, almost 13. They're gonna take down 100 Thieves.
Man, that burst from Zeri onto Quid was not looking fair there at the end. Showing them what a AP Burst champion can get done. Cloud9 looking really strong so far this split. They seem to me like they are the clear #1 team.